From the City of Angels off the Pacific Ocean, good morning, good evening, wherever you may be across the nation, around the world. I'm George Norrie, and welcome to Coast AM. The last hour of the program tonight, The Sci-Fi Craze with Mark Zicree. Happy birthday, by the way, Tim from Los Angeles. I call him Mr. Ambassador, longtime Coast to Coast listener. Also, I was doing an interview tonight for the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation, a documentary group here, doing a major show on 2012. Those of you up in Canada, I will let you know when they plan to air that in the future. They are very thorough. Here's what's happening. Approaching the 1-month mark since the Deepwater Horizon rig exploded in the Gulf of Mexico, officials reported some progress in capturing some of the gushing crude oil, even as some of the sheen has entered the loop current that we've been warning about, as they prepare now another large-scale attempt to stop the oil near its source on Sunday. BP, the company responsible for cleaning up the spill, says it is now able to siphon 3,000 of the 5,000 barrels of oil flowing daily from the ruptured well beneath the Gulf, with the mile-long tube inserted last Sunday into the riser pipe. But in its 2009 exploration plan for the Deepwater Horizon well, BP states that the company could handle a spill involving as much as 12.6 million gallons of oil a day, a number 60 times higher than its current estimate of the ongoing Gulf disaster. In associated documents filed with the U.S. Minerals Management Service, the company says it would be able to skim 17.6 million gallons of oil a day from the Gulf in the event of a spill. That's not happening. As of Tuesday, BP reported recovering 6 million gallons of oily water since the ongoing spill began 4 weeks ago. Of that, according to experts, only 600,000 gallons of it is oil. The Coast Guard has announced that the blobs of tar that washed up in the Florida Keys earlier this week are not related to the Gulf of Mexico spill. The Coast Guard analyzed the tar balls as evidence mounted that at least some oil from the spill soon would arrive in South Florida. The analysis determined conclusively that the tar balls collected from the Keys beaches do not match the type of oil from the Gulf spill. That's according to the agency that looked at this. The source of the pollution is unknown. Captain Kelly Sweeney, Master Mariner, on the line with us now. Well, Kelly, what's the latest now?
Ahoy, George. Well, first of all, I heard you last night, and I want to say that I agree, and my sources very close to the spill agree with you, that the amount spilled is much more than what we have been told officially. How much more? One of my sources feels it's almost 20 times that. But and the thing is, too, George, about the loop current, finally they're admitting that after a long time that the loop current has now impacted the oil spill. But what they're not mentioning, and what a lot of people don't realize, is that the loop current is not a surface current. The loop current is actually hundreds of feet below the surface of the Gulf of Mexico. Now, when you mentioned the large millions of gallons of oil plumes underneath the surface in one of our discussions recently, you were right on. And the thing is, you cannot see where those plumes are. You can't recover that oil when it's in that state that far down, and you certainly can't stop it from getting into the loop current when it's that far down. And so this is going to be a major issue as time goes on. And they're going to try a junk shot supposedly this weekend, a last-ditch effort that if that doesn't work, it could mean the relief wells are the next option, and that's going to be 2 months down the road. And one thing, George, also that you and I talked about, it is turning in now into an international incident. The State Department has admitted that they are in talks with Cuba on what kind of responsibility we're going to take when it washes up on their shores. And one thing that I want to tell the Coast listeners tonight, before we go further, that nobody's talking about but is looming on the horizon. In 2 weeks is the start of hurricane season.
That's right, Kelly. Oh, my gosh, what a disaster this could be. Not only for this area where this spill is, but all these other rigs that are out there.
You're right, George. I mean, they still have not recovered the log books and the voyage data recorder, the black box, on the Deepwater Horizon, which would have given a much more detailed indication of what went on in the hours before the explosions that started this whole thing. And, you know, the Deepwater Horizon and these rigs that are out there are not American vessels, even though they're drilling in our territorial waters. They are what's called foreign flag vessels.
That's right.
The Deepwater Horizon was registered in the Marshall Islands, which is like Saipan and over in the Pacific. And they do that, companies do that for tax reasons, like a lot of offshore companies register in the Bahamas and offshore. They register these vessels because they're not U.S. Coast Guard maritime regulations that apply to U.S. ships do not apply to these foreign flag ships. They're not under the same rules, and they're not under the same kind of scrutiny. And obviously, the authorities let that happen, and they were watching closely.
All right. Thank you, Kelly. Keep your eyes on this for us, as you do. If you use skin creams to eliminate age spots and freckles, take heed. Some of them could contain a dangerously high level of toxic mercury that can cause kidney damage, according to an investigation by the Chicago Tribune. The newspaper found that 6 out of 50 skin lightening creams tested by a certified lab contained amounts of mercury that broke U.S. federal law. 5 of the creams had formulas that had 6,000 parts per million of mercury, enough to cause kidney damage. The products tested were purchased in a variety of stores, including grocery stores, beauty supply stores, salons, herbal medicine shops, and on the Internet. The products were manufactured in Lebanon, China, India, Pakistan, and Taiwan. Retailers selling the mercury cream said that they would remove them from the shelves, and 2 distributors are discontinuing them. Mercury is absorbed through the skin rapidly, and toxic poisoning from mercury can range from blurred vision, trouble walking, to shutting down organs, and in severe cases, even death. The FDA may start to disclose more details on drugs. Maybe they've been listening to our program. The nation's top drug regulator has proposed to disclose more information about safety problems with the drugs and devices it rejects. The effort is part of a broader plan to remove the public image of the Food and Drug Administration, which has come under fire for being too secretive. The agency says that they're going to suggest 21 ways where the FDA could release more information to us, including an evaluation of drugs and food manufacturing inspections. Eating veggies seems to be a good goal, but for an 88-year-old Chinese woman, she took it a little too far, consuming enough raw bok choy to send herself into a life-threatening thyroid-induced coma. The woman showed up at a New York emergency room complaining that she could not walk or swallow. The real trouble, according to a report in the New England Journal of Medicine, was that she'd been chowing down up to 3 pounds of bok choy every day for several months in hopes of controlling her diabetes. Wine lovers, you can rejoice. A study out of France, of course, it's France now, has found that people who drank up to a half a bottle of wine a day are healthier than people who abstain from drinking. The mortgage crisis is dragging down the economy and the economic recovery as more homeowners fall behind on their payments. The last report, 10% of homeowners with mortgages had missed at least one payment through the January-March period. A big jump in the number of borrowers who have missed now 3 months of mortgage payments also drove the increase. Catherine Austin Fitz, she's watching this for us. This is not good news, Catherine.
No, George. We have several things coming together at once, and it's kind of the Molotov cocktail of the mortgage market. It's serious. Let me go through them. Many of what has traditionally been thought of as the American middle class is in a squeeze, in a pincer movement. They have falling income. We have unemployment and long-term unemployment at literally record highs, and that's before going through the state and local budget cutbacks that we know we have to go through this summer. So they've got income falling at the same time because of the bailouts, because of the easy money, the monetary sort of the things the federal government has been doing, the central bank. We have significant inflation. If you look at energy prices, food prices, both the official statistics and sort of more reliable statistics. So we have falling incomes and rising expenses. And it's that pincer movement that's not getting better for many, many people. And, of course, ultimately you're going to see that translate in not being able to carry the mortgage. A second thing, what many Americans don't understand, George, is one of the chief reasons for the rise in housing prices in this country has been bigger and bigger houses. And we've been building houses that are not energy efficient, are very big, and are not organized to have the kind of low maintenance as you want in this kind of environment. If you look at the house that most people would go out and buy now, knowing what they know, it wouldn't consume as much energy on the commute. It wouldn't use up as much energy for heating. It'd be much more energy efficient. So part of it is people are struggling with paying for the maintenance of a housing stock, which really is not appropriate to the environment we're in and we're going into. And then finally, you have a tremendous number of mortgages underwater. And when you're struggling and you have to choose between paying your mortgage and buying food, and your mortgage is on a house that is your mortgage is much greater than your house is worth, well, you're going to let it go. So we have people just walking on mortgages because they say, it's not a good investment.
It's not worth it.
It's not worth it.
I know some people who got a notice that their house was going up on foreclosure. It took 8 months for the foreclosure auction to occur. Every month it got postponed. And on the 8th month, the bank, the major lender on that property, bought the note. And now it's been 2 months, and they haven't even heard from the bank, and they're still in the house.
That doesn't surprise me at all. I mean, you hear many stories like that. At some point, you're going to see these banks come back and ask people to stay if they'll just rent and take care of the property. Because if you have a property not occupied, it becomes much more expensive, and you run the chance of much more deterioration. So, but we're going to see neighborhoods where people are paying. Let's say they're paying $2,000 a month on their mortgage, and they can literally walk across the street and rent something for $1,000. They'll
do it.
Yeah,
they'll do it. What's new on Solari.com?
Well, the Solari report is really cooking. I love doing it. I only do it once a week, so I'm not like you, George, with every night. But right now we're doing a series on chemtrails, and the response has been incredible. It was this. What you realize is there's so many people who want to understand personal finance, but for someone who knows what you teach them. So once you finish teaching them what's really going on, they want to know, okay, well, what do I do about it? What's the personal financial angle on all of this? And so that's what we're doing, and it's great.
All right.
I love it.
Thanks, Catherine. Catherine's website, part of our Twitter feed at coasttocoastam.com, SOLARI.com. The name John Shepard Barron. You probably don't know who John Shepard Barron is. The Scotsman, credited with inventing what? When you go to a bank, maybe a drugstore, wherever you go, and you want to get money out of an ATM, he invented the world's first ATM. He has died after a short illness. He was 84. See, this is news you can use. John Shepard Barron once said he came up with the idea of cash dispensers after being locked out of his bank. He also said that his invention was inspired by chocolate